And away we go. It is the 500th episode of the BCJ Podcast right here on BearcatJournal.com. Some of you lunatics have probably listened, a couple, not many, but a couple, have probably listened to all 500, and we commend you. Why you would do that, I don't know. Why you would do that to yourself, I'm not sure. But thank you. We genuinely thank you from the bottom of our heart. 500 episodes. And this podcast has always been sponsored by the Holy Grail. Go see our good friends at the Holy Grail. We're waiting on a kickoff time for Utah coming up here next Saturday. We will be back at the Holy Grail. I'm guessing 3:30 or 10, one of the two. We will be back at the Grail for another official BCJ watch party. And you can come down and join us. We will have ice cold Cincy Light on tap, bucket specials, great food, great drinks, and, of course, the excellent service that you always get at the Holy Grail. All right, enough of that. Let's get to this thing. We figured we don't do a lot of guests on this show. But for 500, we had to go big. And to go big, we brought in a man that will be inducted into the UC Hall of Fame on Friday night. A man with a job, a couple jobs. None other than Tony Pike. Tony, it's been great to hear you back on the air this week. Tony Pike's Cincy 360 is back, and you are doing a marvelous job taking over for Jim Kelly. Rest in peace. It was a beautiful service on Sunday, the visitation. A line that literally wrapped through the entire funeral home. It was great to see so many good friends and good faces there to honor Jim. But welcome to the show, Tom.
You say you went big. How many people had to say no before you landed on, all right, we'll get Tony?
You are the only person we asked. And if you did not do it, we weren't going to have a guest. We were just going to do our normal show.
We don't have guests during the seasons, either football or basketball usually. So for 500, I mean, we got to pull out the big guns. Pull out the Hall of Famers.
It's big, and man, it's so exciting right now around the University of Cincinnati. You know, with I guess the most dominant exhibition team when it comes to beating teams in the Big Ten that you can find after what they did to Ohio State and now Michigan this year. But man, it's fun. Football's rolling, and there's so many good things about this team and this coming weekend that really kind of bring it full circle.
For sure.
What are those emotions going to be like for you? Are you going to cry?
I was worried at first because I thought this would entail me like having to write a speech. And in a speech, I feel like with the people that I would have had to talk about, it was going to be probably emotional. But then I found out that it's more of a Q&A with our guy, Dan Hort. And Dan makes it so easy to work alongside of. So I'm not as nervous about that. It's more excitement. The amount of people that reached out or have reached out or that are going down to either Friday night or Saturday or both to be a part of everything is really, really cool.
The speech would have been rough. Like if you'd have had to give up there and do like from the heart Tony Pike. Yeah, I mean, there would have been tears.
I like got emotional giving a best man speech at my brother's wedding. So for me, the emotions would have poured out. My wife always criticizes me because I didn't cry on our wedding day. And then I have to kind of tell her, like, look, it's because it was so much happiness that was exuding from me. But yeah, I would have definitely gotten emotional if I had to come up with a speech on my own. But being up there with Dan is now, working alongside him even more is going to make it a little bit easier.
I'm sure there'll be a couple cold Cincy Lights to help you out there. So
always to calm the nerves. Always to calm the nerves.
I mean, you're going to have to get you one of those special new cans and have those.
When we were at the Sugar Bowl, I remember like one of the first nights we were there, the police department in New Orleans came and visited a team meeting. And granted, we don't have a head coach. We have nothing at the time. And I remember they passed around like cards, and they literally told everyone in the meeting, like, hey, if anyone gives you any trouble or you can't get in anywhere, just show them this card. It was essentially a get out of jail free card. And I remember like looking across the room and seeing the looks on faces, including my brother. And that was the time I knew that this could get interesting.
You guys were in trouble.
And it was a similar feeling when I had people reaching out about tickets to Friday night. Obviously, the city of Reading has always been very supportive. And when they found out that it's actually free to go to the Hall of Fame ceremony, you could get the VIP ticket and spend some money, but you could go to the ceremony for free and partake in the ceremony and some ice cold Cincy Lights. And I'm pretty sure that was the same look that a lot of Reading gave, that, okay, we're going to be there, and all the rules are out.
Will they be tailgating beforehand?
I would only assume so. It wouldn't feel right if there wasn't some kind of tailgate on Friday night, and then might as well just lead it into Saturday,
right, exactly.
Post-game Saturday, Holy Grail on Sunday. There's just a lot going on this weekend.
There sure is. Let's talk about these Bearcats that are 6-1. I'm not sure what your preseason expectations are. They've actually already hit the win total that I said that they were going to hit. So what have you seen, be it from the sideline, be it from the booth, just generally speaking, what have you noticed to be maybe the biggest difference from last year, the 5-game losing streak, and now coming into where they are now? What do you think are some of the biggest differences you've been able to notice?
There's not a glaring weakness. No matter where you look on this team, you look at the stretch after they got to 5 wins last year, teams just started saying, okay, if you're going to beat us on offense, then you're going to have to throw it outside and down the field. And they just didn't have the playmakers last year to do that. They have the playmakers this year on the outside. Joe Royer, I think, is being utilized the way now that Joe Royer should be utilized. I don't think you can over-exaggerate how difficult they are at the running back position, because we've seen multiple games where they've swapped who gets the first carries between Walker and Pryor. Walker wants to run you over. Pryor wants to run around you. That's hard for a defense to deal with. Sorsby's playing at one of the highest levels in the country, and the offensive line is one of the best O-lines, not in the Big 12, but in the country. So offense checks all the boxes. Scott Satterfield is in a rhythm in play calling. Defense, I know the defense gets criticized. They are the definition of a bend but don't break defense. They gave up 11 the week before. They gave up 17 last week. In between the 20s, they are going to give up yards. They're going to play loose. They're going to eliminate home run plays. Inside the red zone, they're going to bow up and they're going to play good football. The loss to Nebraska, they did just that. I thought the defense played good enough to win that game. And then on special teams, they lost games last year due to special teams. They lost momentum swings on special teams. They're excellent. Their special teams is such a solid unit. And I look at them and I think, okay, when I look at a team, like, how would you attack a team like this? They just don't have a ton of weaknesses. And I think that's where the success is coming from. And now they believe. Every team wants to talk about at the beginning of the year, we want to win a championship. We want to win a Big 12. Well, guess what? This team talks about it. And when you watch them and hear them, they believe it. So they're a confident team as well, and that makes them even more dangerous.
Dave and I are going to get into this in more detail later about the 3-3-5 and the bend but don't break and all that stuff. You played on a team that time of possession was not a factor. In fact, you guys took most of the blame for that defense not playing well through the end of that season. Everybody blamed the offense for that. As a quarterback, how do you handle that? Like, look, we're good. I can get chunks of 30 yards at a time, 20, 30 yards at a time, and we're going to zip down the field and score. Sorry, not sorry.
It's good. The only thing I worry about with it is if a team jumps out on UC quick. Because the 3-3-5 is different when Dante Corleone plays 80% of the snaps, right? Because he's taking up 2 to 3 blockers every time. They're just not as dominant at nose without Dante Corleone, and the defense is susceptible to giving up some gash plays. And all of a sudden, 15 play, 18 play, 19 play drive. And that's fine when you got a 10, 17-point lead. The only thing I worry about from a quarterback mindset, do you remember, Chad, the Cole Rain teams, like back when I was in high school, like Dominic Goodman, those guys?
Oh, yeah.
Those teams were so good, but they put so much pressure on you because you knew going into the game you weren't going to get a ton of possessions. And so as a quarterback, you start to maybe go a little bit out of character. If a team jumps out on UC and the defense isn't getting the stops, all of a sudden as a quarterback, your mind starts to go to, man, I got to go make a play here. I don't know how many more times we're going to get the ball. We got to make something happen. And then you do something out of character. As long as they're even, as long as they're within a score, as long as they're playing with a lead, that bend but don't break with the 3-3-5 is going to be successful. We just haven't seen what it would look like if they're down multiple scores and they got to come back in a game where possessions are limited.
As a quarterback, your eye, I'm sure, is drawn to the other quarterback. So Brendan Sorsby, no one in college football has accounted for more touchdowns than he has. Where do you see his game growing the most from last year to this year? And, what is he doing right now that's kind of separating himself from what he did last year and even just quarterbacking in general around the country?
I thought at times last year, late in the season, he just didn't look as confident in the throws he was making. This year he is. I think you take any throw he's made this year, I'll take the 3rd and 16 to start the fourth quarter was his best throw of the season. And he had missed some throws throughout the game. And I think that's what's been most impressive. Doesn't matter what happens in the first half or the first 3 quarters. When the team needs a throw, he's making it. And then I credit Scott Satterfield as well. Sorsby's a winner. If he needs to run, he'll run. The touchdown run was everything about him wanting to get in the end zone. He's been smart with the ball. But if you watch them offensively, they are so in sync offensively with their play calling and plays that mirror each other and are totally different. Like they ran the option play that Cyrus Allen scored on that got changed to a pass. That was an RPO look with the running back. Cyrus Allen went in motion behind Sorsby, and then he became the option pitch man. They score a touchdown on it. 2 drives later, same exact look. Play fake to the running back. Cyrus Allen goes around Sorsby. This time, he fakes an option pitch, and he sets up in the pocket for a deep threat. Everything they do has a counter. Everything they do has an answer. And for a defense, when so many things look the same, and then you're seeing 2 or 3 different variations, it's very hard to commit confidently to what the offense is doing. And all of a sudden you're hesitating, and then that opens up opportunities for big plays on the back end. So Sorsby is playing at an elite level. He's playing with confidence. And I also credit Scott Satterfield because he's in such a good rhythm with their play calls and how they mirror each other.
He's leading the country in, I don't know if it's efficiency or rating or whatever, against pressure. What does that do to a defense when they basically know we can pressure this guy, but there was one play against Oklahoma State where it ended up being a swing pass to Evan Pryor. I mean, he was through 3 progressions and then he's seeing everything so well. How do you defend that when he's almost as good against no pressure versus pressure?
Well, a couple things that pressure open up for him. One, if you're bringing pressure and you miss your lane assignment, he's going to gash you because he's going to take off and create a big play in the running game. They have answers for pressure, which is also great. He knows who his hot route is. He knows where to find it. Joe Royer, I mean, what else could you want in a guy if pressure's coming than a guy that can help you block and then leak out and make big plays like Joe Royer? But it comes back to the offensive line as well. I mean, just look at this, the first touchdown to Cyrus Allen, how much time he had in the pocket to wait for Cyrus Allen to run a crossing route, to get back over the middle, to catch a ball. It reminded me of like Tom Brady's prime, when I would be in awe because Brady would almost stand in the pocket flat-footed. Like he was that comfortable in the pocket. And for much of the year, Sorsby has been comfortable because the line's given up 2 sacks. And I would argue that one sack was given up on a play action where Sorsby thought he could beat the defensive end. And the other sack, I think, was a covered sack. So if I'm a defense, I'm not going to pressure because, 1, it's hard to get home against this team. And 2, if you do bring pressure and you miss your assignment, you're going to get gashed.
I think he's the highest, either the highest or second highest rated quarterback in the country against pressure.
And not to mention, like, it's like anything in football. If a defense does something early in the game and it works, you're going to see a lot more of it. If they bring pressure early and you have an answer for it, you're not going to see as much, and you're going to make things a little bit easier on yourself. And they've done a good job of that.
His pressure to sack ratio is something absurd, like 26.1 to 1. So for every 26 pressures, he's gotten sacked, where quarterbacks like Jackson Arnold and Dylan Raiola are down in the 3s and 2s. So that kind of just shows you they can pressure and they can get close, but he's not taking sacks and he's still making positive plays.
Yeah, it's that, and it's the ability that when you do bring pressure, you're not getting home. So, teams don't always pressure to get a sack. Teams get pressure as well to get a quarterback off his line, to disrupt the timing, maybe to make the quarterback move and change an arm angle, and then you get an interception or a batted ball on the back end. But when you pressure and you don't get through and they pick it up with the O-line and Royer and the backs, all of a sudden you're now vulnerable on the back end, and they've got more than capable playmakers to go make plays. So with those types of statistics, I just don't think you're going to see many teams line up and just try to light them up with pressure.
You've been a Bearcat for a long time. You've watched a lot of UC football. Where does this O-line rank, especially with their ability to do both, to be dominant in run blocking and pass blocking?
Yeah, I mean, I'm biased towards the O-line that I got to play with Jeff Linkenbach on the left side and Jason and Sam Griffin and others. Like, our success was built on balance as well. We wanted to run the ball. We wanted to push tempo. It's harder on an O-line to push tempo like that, and we were able to answer the bell and do that. This offensive line has to be up there with the best that they've had at UC. You watch a Gavin Gerhardt. Gavin's the one that's pointing out defense a lot. He's the one that's identifying the linebackers and setting the protections. And they're just, guys that I played with, Jason and Trevor Canfield, those were guys that, like, when they played, there was almost a half screw loose that they were going to block through the whistle and even more. And maybe sometimes it'll borderline on a penalty, but you want that. How many times this year have the offensive line been flagged for a legal man downfield? I hate it. But also, am I mad that the offensive line are firing off and dominating their players, that they're pushing them down the field like that?
Right.
Like, you got to kind of live with that. Like, that's an aggressive mistake. That's who this offensive line is. They're a clinic tape, a clinic tape for how to play the position together.
Defensively, they were really good against the run, taking the quarterbacks out of it. Miles Montgomery, Jaden Nixon against UCF. And then last week against Oklahoma State, and I think a really good running back in Ronnie Fields, they were not nearly as good. What did you see from game to game, just from the front seven, that maybe showed a little bit of why they weren't as good against they still had a negative EPA rush allowed, which you wouldn't think based on the way that Ronnie Fields ran the ball. But what did you see differently from those two games against the run?
Corleone was not out there as much. That makes a huge difference. Yeah. And I think as much as Fields was an issue, Jackson, the quarterback, was an issue as well, because he wasn't really a quarterback. Like, it was sandlot football. It was drop back, wait there for a second, make somebody miss and either scramble or hit an inside run. That's hard to defend, because it's so unorthodox. I go back last year. You remember the game they lost against Pitt? That was essentially what Pitt did in the second half. Quarterback would drop back, wait a half second, he would scramble around till somebody came open, or he would run. I think that's more what Oklahoma State opened up with Jackson. And then you're able to just kind of capitalize, because now you have to play a little bit softer to keep everything in front. All of a sudden, Dante Corleone's not in, and you're starting to lose those battles up front when it's 3 versus 5. And Oklahoma State was able to get to the second level and start getting hats on those linebackers.
Where would you like to see defensively this team grow? Linebackers or safeties? Like, I feel like those are the two areas, not that they've been terrible, but if they step up, this defense could be a little bit better getting off the field on third down, getting off the field on fourth down.
I always would say the back end, because that's just, you're just kind of commanding everything in front of you. So anytime you can add more or get better at a position, especially at safety, I would lean there. It's also a unique defense because you got 5 defensive backs in the game most times. So there's just a lot of moving parts to this defense. I wonder if it gets to a point, if Corleone is out in stretches, if you even think about a 4-man front just to kind of even things out and get back to a more of a traditional look. Like, I genuinely think that teams have 2 different game plans. I think there's a game plan when Corleone's in, and I think there's a game plan when Corleone is out. I thought Nebraska did that week 1. Every time he was out, they changed their game plan and they ran up the middle. If you can get better safety play on the back end, more consistent safety play, everything's going to kind of line up in front of you. They're also a team, when they have gotten the stops, they've just made the penalties. They got to get their heads around. You're talking about the corners. You got to get their heads around on the deep passes because obviously Baylor, a team that leads the nation in passing offense. So if I was coming against UC's defense, I would take 8 to 10 deep shots a game just because they haven't played the deep ball extremely well. They've been in good position. They just haven't got their head around.
That's the thing for me. It's normally, like I've talked for a long time about, if you're not good at corner, I don't want you turning your head around.
Yeah.
Because I don't want you doing this while you don't have contact with the guy. They have been in position.
Yeah.
If they just get the head around, then they're making a play on the ball and they're not going to get the flag thrown. I don't think it's been bad coverage.
No.
Like usually pass interference is bad coverage.
But that would be the question if I'm a quarterback going against them early in the game. I'd say you're going to have to answer this question or I'm going to keep doing it. You know, you're always probing and seeing what you can get away with when you play against an opponent. I would go into that game saying, we're going to make it a point early in this game to take some shots down the field, and we're either going to connect or we're going to see if they're going to play the ball any better than they have. And if not, I'm going to keep doing it. And Baylor will. Baylor's passing offense leads the nation. That's a good passing team, so they're gonna sling it.
If you thought this defense was annoying the past couple weeks, they're gonna make you pull your hair. And I get it as a fan. It's annoying. It's annoying to see teams go on 15 play, 8-minute drives. You don't want to watch that when you're watching your team play football, especially when the offense is this good. Get off the damn field.
And that's the frustrating thing is when you get the stop and then it's a penalty that keeps the drive moving. Yeah. Oklahoma State got that early in the game the other night on a third down on a pass interference where they got, I think McDoom, he got there a little bit early, but the throw was so bad it kind of led him into the pass interference. But those are the ones that it just breaks your back a little bit.
I don't know if you ever faced this, but Oklahoma State had it was his first time calling plays. So I don't know if you ever had a game where the defensive coordinator was the first time that they had. What does that do just from the standpoint of you can watch tape, but there's no tendencies really. And the likelihood is that the coordinator's trying to break all the tendencies that were not successful, with whoever else was calling the plays before. Is that a factor? Is it not much of a factor? Do you think
it's not as much because you get to a point where there's only so many things you can see. At some point you've seen it and you can draw back on it. But everyone always talks about the script in football. That's where it's important. My first 10 to 15 plays, I knew the night before what we were going to run. And we wanted to make sure we were perfect in what we were going to run. But more importantly, you're running those plays to see how the defense is going to respond to those formations and plays. So you're constantly gauging what a defense is going to do. But it does put a little bit more emphasis on those first 10 to 15 plays because you really got to get the most out of them to see how a defense is going to respond to different looks you're giving.
Real quick on Sorsby, what have you seen that is so stark in difference from last year when he was really hot and cold to this year where we're seeing a lot more of the hot and not as much of the cold?
Well, he's got more playmakers. So when you have more playmakers as a quarterback, you're more confident in what you're doing. Like I said, I thought the 3rd and 16 coming out of the third quarter was the most impressive throw he's made because you have to be convinced and ready to look the safety off on your 3 steps, hitch once, and the ball's got to come out on a line. And if it doesn't, like that's an interception. They were being in attendance. Oklahoma State and their fans between the 3rd and the 4th quarter was about as rowdy of an atmosphere as they've been in this year. I mean, it was loud. You could feel the momentum changing. And on the very first opportunity, he puts a bang route in on the backside on a 3rd and 16. Like that to me, it's just confidence. And there's a lot that kind of entails confidence when you talk about playing a sport, especially with a quarterback. But he trusts what he sees in the defense right now. He knows he's got a good group up front that's going to protect him. They have a running game to lean on. He's confident in what they're doing, and that makes him extremely dangerous.
He's been sacked twice. Once at Kansas resulted in a 3rd and 12. Once against Oklahoma State resulted in a 3rd and 16. Delivered a great ball to Royer to convert the 3rd and 12. Yep. threw the ball to Caldwell to convert the 3rd and 16. A lot of guys, Tony, are handing that bad boy off.
Yeah.
It's a draw play. Brendan Sorsby said, no, we're going to get this back. And they did. Like, to me, that's impressive.
Yeah. And I think, too, I credited Scott Satterfield before. I feel like he's done such a good job of getting Sorsby comfortable early in the game.
Yeah.
Like, it's cliche, but it's like a free throw. It's like a shooter in basketball. And everyone says, if they can get to the line, you see one go in, and all of a sudden they make their next 7. It's the same thing at quarterback. If you feel like you're in a groove and you get a couple easy completions to start a game, it starts to click a little bit easier.
You got any more football, Dave?
I'll just ask him real quick, 1 or 2 keys to keeping this win streak going on Saturday.
Offensively, just continue to be balanced. I think the balance is so key for them because you don't want to run into a quick 3 and out with where the defense is at. So their running game allows them to be in 2nd and 3rd and manageable a lot. Don't go stretches where you go away from that. Keep with the balance on offense. Special teams, you can't allow a momentum play. They got the monkey off their back last week with the defensive touchdown. How big would it be at home on homecoming to have a special teams touchdown or a block kick, something along those lines that can really change everything? And then defensively, I hate to do it, just win in the red zone. I think we know at this rate of the year who the defense is. You can't come out and say, shut Baylor out. Their offense is too good. Like they've played good teams too. They went toe-to-toe with Auburn. They beat a ranked SMU team. They played it hard against Kansas. You're not going to shut them out. So a team that can move the ball and throw the ball around, if I can limit them to 3 instead of 6 in the red zone, I feel pretty good about where I'm at.
Now, some people don't know this about you, Tone. You might be a bigger UC basketball fan than UC football fan.
I am.
Would you say that? You'd say you're a bigger basketball fan than football fan?
Yeah, UC basketball was my first love. It was just at the time you had to buy football season tickets to get the basketball season tickets. So
I knew that life.
Everyone wanted those basketball tickets, and I wanted to be at those games. And thank God my grandpa took me to those games. But it also opened up the door to go to a lot of football games, which I did. But, man, Fifth Third Arena, Bearcat basketball, I grew up in the Huggins days. I was there around the Cronin days. I got to see some good Bearcat basketball teams. And I jumped the gun last year. I went to the Ohio State exhibition, and I left and I said they're an Elite 8 team. They're that talented because of how they played against Ohio State. So I'm not saying anything about the Michigan win, except we dominate Big Ten teams in exhibitions. I'm not saying a word. I could care less. I was happy they scored 100. I'm not going to overreact to the exhibition, but I feel like while last year they had a talented roster, I feel like this year the roster is talented, but it also feels like everything fits together. It's not just kind of guys thrown everywhere and let's throw them all in the arena and let's see how they react. I feel like they can all play off each other and they were all built in kind of the mold of the system you want to be in.
Last year was, a term that I hate, Tony? Positionless basketball. I hate that term because unless you've got like 5 of the top 10 players in the country, positionless basketball is stupid. And we saw that last year. You can't just throw 5 talented players on the court and go, all right, guys, go get them.
As soon as teams last year said, okay, show us that your big man can like back us down. And if not, we're going to completely change our defense. They were so handicapped. They were one hand behind their back last year in so much because they just didn't get anything out of the bigs. And that's why I'm a little concerned about the loss of Big Slime. Yeah. That does concern me because I thought he could go get it. But I feel like they're much, much improved in the front court. I feel like they got a ton of athleticism. I feel like they got shooters. Kerr, I think, because I'm just going to call him Kerr now since that's what he's putting on the back of his jersey. I think he is the right type of veteran leader. He's the guy you hated when you played against him. Oh, I hated that dude. When's
the last time Cincinnati had that guy?
Right. Like when he was at when I watched him at like West Virginia, I watched him in Arizona, I hated him. And now I'm like, he's going to be so good for this team. He's going to be so good for this team. They've got young talent, man. They've got they've got a lot that kind of is mixed together.
Did anybody jump out at you? I know we're not getting overexcited about it.
Obviously a Bive, because I think there's, Keegan was on the show today, and he talked about
your radio show, Tony Pike, Cincy
Tony Pike, Cincy 360. But
okay.
like Keegan, he mentioned it's hard for a guy like that because he was scoring 40 on any given night in high school. It's like, okay, come show that you can do it. And in his first opportunity, I thought he looked comfortable. I thought he looked good. I think Sincere Harris is going to be huge. They didn't have that player last year.
Bearcat.
A Bearcat. Just, again, I hate guys when they do it against me. Like, if Sincere Harris slaps the floor on defense, I'm going to stand up and go nuts. I'm going to be excited. I'm going to be ready to go. They didn't have the post, and they didn't have that gritty defender that John Newman was, in previous years for this team. They didn't have that last year, and I'm excited to see how he kind of gets in that mix too.
How excited are you to be back on the radio every day? How excited are you to get to work with Austin Elmore again? I
think my wife is more excited than I am, because I don't
think
that was
a long 10 days or so for her.
It was a really long 10 days for her. I enjoy so much about the radio, and I cherish it more now, because the day it happened, the outpouring that I received from social media to calls to text, I felt good about it, but it also gave a little bit of validation that, man, there's a lot of people that enjoy the show. And that, I think, makes me appreciate doing it even more, because I know it means something to a lot of people, and that makes it a little bit sweeter. And to have the ability to be in the booth, I mean, it's icing on the cake for me. I've been doing sideline reporting for a long time. But I as much as I enjoy it, I hate at the expense that it's come. I know Jim was a coworker, but more importantly, Jim was a friend. I told the story the other day. I remember we went on vacation with Jim's family. I went with a McEwen, but we went on vacation together growing up. And I remember just Jim on the beach with his guitar, just everyone kind of huddled around him playing. And we were out one night, and we were younger, so we just thought it was cool to hang around the adults. We were early teens, but the adults had been drinking most of the day, and Jim's playing music and the adults are singing. And I remember my dad stepped up and asked Jim if he knew any Ludacris. And sure enough, Jim starts playing I Wanna like that song on guitar. And I just remember that, because I'm like, man, he's so cool. And
what's your fantasy?
Yes, that was it. That was it. And I'm like, first of all, why is my dad requesting that as a karaoke song? And Jim, just being able to go right into it. But it was so cool for me, because I was a friend of Jim, and then I got to hear Jim call games that I played at UC, which to me was the coolest thing ever. And then the last 8-9 years, however long it's been, that I've been able to work with Jim and Dan and Mo. I said it the other day, I enjoyed the road trip so much because of Jim, because we'd go out to dinner, we'd have drinks, and Jim would want to hang out in the hotel bar and just talk to every Bearcat fan and family member that he could.
Till they all went to bed.
And man, he just loved. I told Sarah at the play, I said I'll never be able to fill his shoes, but I can share his passion that he had for the University of Cincinnati. And it was great. I'm going to miss Jim, but working alongside Dan Horde is awesome. I couldn't be happier with what I'm able to do and talk about sports every day.
No, nobody wants to talk about how much this has impacted me.
Right.
Because you and I had a lot of, I had a resource on the field.
Balls were rolling.
Yeah.
And it impacted you because you had those next couple shows.
I was not thrilled about. Got a message on Tuesday. Hey, can you fill in Thursday, Friday, and Monday? And you know me, 90% of the time, I say yes. Why? Because if you start saying no, they find somebody else, and then you don't get to fill in anymore. So I said yes, and then
by the way,
by the way, it's because we fired Tony.
Yeah.
The C's were angry that day, my friend.
Yes, they were.
The C's were angry that day.
They were.
But we did talk backs. We kept the spirit of the show alive.
That was the hard thing. Like, I listened the day it happened with Austin, and it felt, I'm like, halfway through I was like, am I in like
Tony's
the sixth? Am I in the sixth sense? Like, am I not even
dead.
Like my wife hadn't said anything to me. She was in the car just listening. So I'm like, am I here? And then, like, I think Austin caught himself like halfway through. He's like, by the way, it's not a eulogy. If you're joining us, he's not dead. So
he's still alive. He's just fired.
It was the outpouring was awesome.
You didn't listen to the next day when I poured my soul out for you?
I didn't get to listen as much.
Let's see how it is.
I was in a dark place. I was in a rough place.
Yeah. I wasn't coming for your show.
My dad, like the second day it happened.
This is great. I've heard that story.
We go over to my mom and dad's house, and it's, again, I'm wearing glasses because I'm like half tearing up because I just keep thinking about, what am I going to do next and my family and all this. And so we're sitting outside and we order pizza, and, pizza comes. And as the pizza guy's leaving, we're all sitting outside. My dad yells at the pizza, "Hey, sir, real quick." The guy's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Are you guys hiring?" And I'm just like, and it's like, man, like just. And at that point, I was like, I just can't take any more.
Body wasn't even cold yet.
It wasn't. It wasn't.
Like touche. Were they? Did you get through the application process? You had a great idea. Yeah, you had a great idea.
Let's just revamp the delivery game. I deliver the pizza. I come inside and we talk ball while you eat the pizza. We got a pizza place in mind?
A couple, yeah. Like Adriatico's, you could deliver. Like if you got to order a Bearcat.
Yeah,
the big one.
Yeah,
and then Tony will come and hang out for like 20 minutes
while you eat
talk ball with you. Yeah,
we'll talk ball.
Just Adriatica, Mios. Let's do that.
Let's reinvent the pizza delivery game. Like that was day 2 of me being fired, so things were going to really get.
You're just getting the creative juices flowing at that point.
Everything going on. I'm like, let's just reinvent how pizzas are delivered. Probably as I was getting my 5th pizza delivered because I wasn't doing anything else.
Brother, we appreciate it. Have an awesome time Friday night, and congratulations. I know this is like you have wanted this for a long time, and you get to go in with Mick.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how if I am thanked at all by Mickens for how we torched them so much in practices that the only thing they could do is get better. And that allowed Mickens to really thrive on the field. So I'm interested to see if he's thankful. No, those guys, man. I know it gets thrown around a ton. Iron sharpens iron. That it just gets thrown out too much. We essentially were that. Like getting to go up against those guys, Haruki, D'Angelo,
Marty and Mickens lined up against each other every day.
And unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So we were so lucky to have a guy like Mick on the team, man. And I'm looking forward to seeing him and couldn't ask to go with anybody better.
I was going to try to surprise you and have him join us tonight. But they're in their bye week and they just got done with practice. He had to get home from practice.
Sure.
Put the daughter to bed. But he might pop in sometime before the show is over.
Nice.
And
tell him I said nothing but nice things about him.
I'll tell him you were talking shit.
Yep.
Don't appreciate it, brother, man.
Thank you,
500 episodes.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. 500. Thank you, sir. We'll talk soon. Thanks, man.
See ya.
All right, we're done.
All right.
That's it, right?
Yeah, I don't have anything else to say. So.
Thanks to Tony. He's so good at this, man.
Yeah.
He's so stinking good at this. Like, just a natural. Like, it's not, the job is not as easy as people think. It's an easy job if you're good at it, right?
Yeah.
If you're not good at it, like, it's a very difficult job. And Tony is insanely good at it. So, great to hear him back on the radio. And they could not have found a better replacement for Jim. And I think Jim would have been thrilled to know that now Tony is next in line. I think that would have made him very happy. Very happy.
No doubt.
All right. Let's timestamp that is the best way to segue into the rest of this show, which, we still got a lot of show left to do. I'm really excited to get all of your exhibition game takes.
There will be none.
I know you've got a full notebook of exhibition game takes. So looking forward to that. But first, let's timestamp. Brought to you by Turtles Brew. 6% ABV, 0 sugar, 0 carbs, gluten-free. It's a bourbon-infused sweet tea. They have lemonade tea, strawberry mint, cherry lime, raspberry peach, orange vanilla. There's more than 50 locations in Greater Cincinnati, over 100 in Ohio. If you'd like to find out where you can pick up Turtles Brew at the location nearest you, just go to turtlesbrew.com and they will get you taken care of. You can find it at the location nearest you. Let's get to, I don't think we need to do anything more on Oklahoma State.
Nope.
We did that segment with Tony instead, so you didn't have to listen to anything more about Oklahoma State. So thank Tony again for that. But it's now time to look at Baylor, and the preview segment is brought to you by our good friends at Home Field Apparel. Congrats to the Home Field Apparel crew. Like, they are, if you don't know, Dave, they are a Bloomington-based company.
I'm aware.
Indiana football has been a big thing for Home Field, and congratulations to them, because now they finally get to enjoy the fruits of their labor. But if you're looking for UC gear, the best classic marks, the old school. If you're looking retro, you want to find some old school logos, Home Field Apparel is the place to go. They've got everything. They've got jackets and bomber jackets and school letter jackets and crew necks and hoodies and joggers and socks and T-shirts and you name it, they've got it. Quarter zips. Aaron's got the crew neck on right now with the angry dunking Bearcat, which is always a favorite. You've seen me wear many times. I've got the T-shirt with the old school CPAW logo, the Great Midwest Championship T-shirt, the baseball 1956 baseball T-shirt. There, Aaron's got it up. Go to homefieldapparel.com. The classic campus pullover, that's a great one. But they will get you taken care of, and you can rock the best vintage UC gear on the market. All right, Dave, let's get to Baylor. And like Tony said, solid football team. Not a great football team. They have their flaws. They also have things that they're very good at. Sawyer Robertson at quarterback being the biggest amongst those things. But you take it away. Where do you want to start? Where do you want to take us with this Baylor preview?
Well, we can just start where we normally do with the numbers. From a metrics standpoint, just looking at where these teams are at in the collective right now. UC is 28th in FEI, which is efficiency, overall team efficiency. Baylor's 43rd, SP plus UC's 25th, Baylor's 58th. K Ford, UC is 32nd, and Baylor is 47th. So UC is a better football team. It's playing like a better football team. Is reflective of the numbers here. Is reflective in the point spread coming from Las Vegas, which I believe opened up at 5.5 and is currently 4.5 in favor of the Bearcats. Baylor is an offensive team. There's no two ways about it, and they are a passing offensive team. Sawyer Robertson is completing 61% of his passes. They throw for more yards per game than anyone in the country. He has thrown 21 touchdowns with 7 interceptions. 4 of those interceptions coming in the last 2 games. 3 of them last week against TCU. They have low sack numbers because they get the ball out pretty quickly. He was also 48% completion percentage against TCU. So, maybe is there something that they can see in that tape that maybe contributed to that? Who knows? That game was kind of weird. I know they had at least one weather delay. could have maybe had
I think there was a couple. Yeah.
You know, those kind of things always get a little bit disjointed, but they are a passing team. He has not thrown the ball fewer than 35 times in a game this year. His lowest numbers were against Oklahoma State, and they were comfortably ahead at the end, so I'm guessing that he didn't play some portion of the fourth quarter. Coming into the year, I really, really liked their collection of pass catchers, most notably Josh Cameron. He's got 40 catches for over 500 yards and 3 touchdowns. Ashton Hawkins, 31 for 399. They have a really nice, I would say, kind of a space move tight end in Michael Trigg, 32 catches for 495 and 4 touchdowns. And then Cole Wilson is their fourth target, has 27 for 377 and 3 touchdowns. So they've got plenty of weapons on the outside. I'm not going to say they don't run the ball. It's just not as big of a factor. Their top of the line running back, Bryson Washington, I believe he was hurt against TCU, has been considered day-to-day / questionable. It'll be interesting to see what his notation is here in about an hour. He had 11 carries for 23 yards against TCU. His backup carried the ball, Michael Turner, who would get the majority of the carries in his absence, 12 for 68. Against TCU, they were minus 0.25 in EPA per rush, which is 15th percentile. Against Kansas State, they were minus 0.13 EPA per rush, which is 30th percentile. So they'll run it to try to get some cheap yards here and there, to if it's blatantly obvious that there's a place to run the ball, but they are a passing team. They're going to come in. Sawyer Robertson, like I said, I think it's around 344 a game is what he's averaging. They do run for
140 a game, so not terrible. They will run the ball some, but they're not a running team.
No. I mean, and a lot of that is like accumulation, because they're in these games where there's a lot of possessions, where there's a lot of plays. So, it's almost just kind of like, I won't call them empty yards, but if you're minus an EPA per rush, everybody made such a big deal out of Oklahoma State and running the ball last week. They were minus in EPA per rush. So while they accumulated a bunch of yards, it wasn't having a real direct effect to them scoring. Yeah. Their game last week, we mentioned the rain and the weather. It ended up being 42-36. It was 42-21 with 6 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, there was a TCU fumble. They scooped and scored. Then they got an onside kick and scored.
Right. So I think, and the defense is really where the problems lie for them. I'm not going to call them a soft team, because I don't think anybody that plays football is soft. It's a very hard game. It's a very physical game. It takes a special person to want to get out there and do that. They are not a very physical team. And that is directly shown in some of their defensive numbers. 8 sacks, 110th in tackles for loss. They just don't really have guys, or don't have the scheme, because they don't have the guys to
They run a 3 or 4 man front.
I'm sure it's a 3. They've always had like that big nose tackle. So I imagine it's a 3. If you look at defensive specific metrics, everybody is bemoaning the UC defense, and I'm not telling you that it's a good defense. But like FEI defense, UC 67, Baylor 83rd, SP plus defense, UC 40th, Baylor 98th, and then K-Ford it's 49 and 101. So, UC's giving up 3.89 yards per carry. They're giving up 4.45. So, almost, 3/4 of a yard more. Oklahoma State had a 0.06 EPA per rush against Baylor. That's 60th percentile. Just since we're comparing and we were just the last team, they were the last team we played. They were 0.05 against UC, which is 42nd percent. So we were really critical of, and rightfully so. UC did not play the run very well last week. They were that much more effective running the ball against Baylor than they were against UC. This to me is a fall Saturday in Ohio. It's going to be chilly, especially when, you get into the second half. This is a strap it up and right from the jump be like, we are going to be the more physical team. You are not going to come in here and sling this thing around. We're taking it to you right from the bat. And setting that tone and making them play catch up, making that, just running it right down their throat from Jump Street. And then using the pass off of that. They're 90th defensively on third down, 97th in the red zone, 100th in red zone touchdown percentage. So, UC's been the best team in the country in the red zone and one of the best teams in the country in touchdown percentage. So Baylor to date is showing, very, very little resistance in that. And offensively for them, they are big plays because they are 88th in red zone offense and 70th in red zone touchdown percentage. UC's top 16 in both categories defensively. They're 14th in red zone defense and 16th in red zone touchdown percentage allowed. So Baylor is not, because they don't run the ball very well, and I think they have a couple really good offensive linemen, but I don't think as a whole it's a real great offensive line in the sense of what we've seen. Teams move the ball, but once it gets condensed, if you can't line up and run it on UC, you're gonna struggle to score in the red zone. You play a 3-3-5. There's too many bodies floating around. The lanes aren't there. You're not worried about guys throwing it over your head. So, the thing that I worry about in a game like this, and Jeff and I talked about it on Sunday morning in a good way, but is that UC had 4 touchdown drives that were 75-ish yards or more, and 2 of them were 90-yard drives, 95-yard drives. Oklahoma State's defense was atrocious. And Baylor's isn't a ton better, but how often, regardless of how good we think UC's offense is going, how often are you going to have 4 touchdown drives in a game where they're all over 75 yards?
Well, you're going to have a lot if the defense is allowing you to rip off 15, 20, 25-yard plays.
Right, but what I'm saying is like
those weren't long, sustained drives.
The rest of the teams we're playing, we're not going to see drives like that. So if you're going to let a team drive down the field, and yes, you stop them in the red zone and get the ball back, or they kick a field goal, or UC's had 6 red zone drives defensively where the other team hasn't scored at all. But you can't live that life for much longer and think that we're going to turn all of those long fields into touchdowns.
Yeah, Baylor's defense is bad. TCU's defense is right around UC's.
It's average.
They're okay.
Utah, BYU
Arizona,
are very good. Arizona's very good pass defense.
Yeah.
But I would just, we need to, and maybe it's this week, maybe it's not. There has to be some in between. There has to be, okay, you give up 2 first downs, but then you get a stop and you get the ball back to your offense. We can't keep having these. It will eventually bite them regardless of opponent, that you keep giving up these drives that result in no points, but then we've been lucky that our offense has been so efficient playing some pretty bad defenses where you can then score on a 95-yard drive. That's just not a way to live. And now that you're in this hunt, you're in this running to go to Dallas, every bit of the margins matter. And if that's a spot that they can do a little bit better at, then that's a spot that they need to do a little bit better at.
For sure. And a lot of it, I mean, let's be honest, a lot of it is going to come down to Dante. And where I think some of it is, he had a pretty bad ankle. Like, if you miss games with an ankle injury, your ankle's pretty messed up.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's fair to say. No, if you sprain the normal ankle sprain, you're going to be back pretty quick. He was not back pretty quick.
Especially at a position like nose. We're not talking about a wide receiver or a defensive back.
Everything is pressure on your ankles. Everything. It will be interesting to see what that looks like. I think they did strategically say, we're going to play him a little less today against Oklahoma State. He played 27 snaps. Like, it wasn't like they didn't use him, but they also, let's be honest, had the knowledge that we're going to beat Oklahoma State.
They used him at the beginning. You go up 28-10. Then he didn't play a ton in the second and third quarter. And then he played a little bit more. He played a little bit in the fourth.
Yeah. So it will be interesting to see what that looks like. Are we talking 40 snaps for him against Baylor? 45 snaps against Baylor? Because I think
just because, like, what kind of the way they play offense, how much of an impact is he really going to have?
I think he can still have a significant impact just because you have to have multiple guys blocking, or else he's going to blow your
I agree, but it's not like they're going to go, oh, Dante's not in, we're going to start running the ball a ton.
No.
Like, they're still going to be in shotgun. They're still going to have a quick passing game. They're still going to try to hit explosives. So whether he plays 30 or 40, I'm not sure it changes how they're going to approach the game. This is a big game to me on safeties and linebackers.
Yes.
Like, I feel like this defense, when the linebackers are flying around and playing well, the defense plays well. Last week, I didn't think the linebackers played very well, and I didn't think the defense played very well overall. Like, you have legitimate 4 dudes that are going to be out in patterns, and you can have 5 DBs out there, but you put 4 or 5 wide receivers out, you're playing zone, but you're basically playing man. You're finding where the gaps are. And you can't let them get behind you, and you got to be good tacklers, because these guys,
it's going to be a lot of one-on-one in space. You're going to have to make a tackle.
Hawkins, Wilson, even Trigg are – I mean, Michael Trigg has one of the best catches of the year in one of their games earlier this year, one-handed catch on the sideline. Like, they can go. And you're going to have to tackle good or well, whatever, whatever we're just
we tackle good.
We tackle good. Gooder than last week. They better tackle gooder than last week.
Yeah, you're going to have to tackle gooder than last week. That's exactly right.
But it's hard for me to, at home, in a game that's going to be uncomfortable for them. I'm not sure, like, if all these other big-time coaches weren't being talked about right now, I think there'd be a lot more national conversation about Dave Aranda and the hot seat. I don't think that vibes are great there right now. And the way UC wants to play football offensively, you have a chance to kind of dictate how this game is going to go right from the jump. And, they have an elite passing game, but if they're having to throw to come back, that should play into your hands. Their quarterback is taking more chances.
Yeah, the problem with them is, though, they can score if you make a bad throw on third down, whatever, you get off the field, and then they can go score again. Like, you can have them down 24 points, and it's 10 in the blink of an eye. I mean, and that's kind of what TCU saw at the end of that game. Now, granted, it's a little fluky with the scoop and score fumble and onside kick.
Right.
You would hope that's not going to be the case on Saturday, but you're not going to be comfortable, though. Even if you're up 3 touchdowns on them, you're not comfortable.
But it's not that you're comfortable, but it's how many times in a row is that defense going to stop UC?
Yeah.
To where you're like, okay, we're up 14. They just scored. or something like that, and we go down and score. They should be able to run the ball. I won't say at will. That's an unfair thing to say. But, they're giving up almost 4.5 yards a carry, and I'm not sure. Oh, the other stat I want to throw out here. They faced two what I would call dual threat Brendan Sorsby-like quarterbacks, Sam Levitt and Avery Johnson. Levitt had 15 carries for 62 yards and a touchdown. Avery had 10 carries for 72 yards and a touchdown. So they have not defended the mobile dual threat quarterback very well at all.
Well, and they do run the 3-3-5, and that is an issue with the 3-3-5 is defending quarterbacks that can move, as we have seen. By the way, Dave, just to put it in perspective, the low temperature in Waco today is 62. The low temperature in Waco tomorrow, 66. Friday, 60. They'll be here, but that's going to be the high, 60.
Yeah, and it won't even reach that because it's going to be cloudy all day. So it's not going to get to 60.
And by the time halftime hits, 6 o'clock, that sun starts to disappear at Nippert Stadium. It's going to be down in the 50s and the 40s real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's supposed to get down into the 30s ultimately.
Freeze
Saturday
warning.
night.
I saw. Yeah, I mean this has Tyree Walker special written all over
it. just running right at him.
Run through a fan, set the tone right away, and get the dub and get to 7-1.
What's their special teams situation?
The field goal kicker's good. I think he's perfect on his PATs, and maybe he's missed one kick this year, 9 out of 10, 11 out of 12, something like that.
Punter?
I didn't do a lot of punting look from a stat standpoint, so can't help you there. Maybe I can get a quick glance.
Let's see.
The punter has punted 17 times, and he is averaging 49 yards a punt with 59 as his long.
That's pretty good. 49-yard average. That'll flip a field.
He had a 79-yard punt last year.
Clearly sufficient. I was trying to scroll back on K Ford.
Palmer Williams.
I'm guessing not Australian.
No, he's from North Carolina.
Okay. What are they doing? Like, what kind of poverty program doesn't have an Australian punter? Like, I scoff in your general direction. Geez, how far back? K Ford puts out a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah. If you're just going on Twitter, it's going to take you a minute to find it. That's usually on like Sunday, is when the unit rankings come out.
There we go. They're 23rd.
Last time we played Baylor, we made one of the most boneheaded special teams plays that I'd seen in a long time. So hopefully that doesn't happen again.
Was that trying to catch a ball that was bouncing 7 feet over your head?
On a kickoff, that they just picked up and ran in for a touchdown.
Yep, I remember that one.
You lost by 3. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Remember that one.
So
what's the Simone family tailgate? Do we know?
Chili. Varieties of chili, I believe.
Like a white chicken chili, a red chili.
Could be. I don't know.
All right. I think Kelsey is not going this week. I think she's got a birthday party or something of the sort that she will be attending.
Lucky you.
I like having the kid there. Don't tell her I said that. She's upset with me, right? She's trying to get her belly button pierced. Like tomorrow. Yep. Be lucky you didn't have a daughter, Dave. Although I can see Will, like at 15, being like, Dad, can I get my belly button pierced?
Yeah.
No.
There's no wrestlers that have their belly button pierced that he wants to emulate. Get out of here.
I mean, he does the Cody Rhodes, like, punch the ground, go like this every morning before he gets on the bus. Like, the bus pulls up, the door's open, he punches at the ground and goes like this and then gets on.
Oh, that boy's going to be performative. He might be.
I'm more concerned about neck tattoos than I am belly button piercings.
That's fair. That's fair. What do you got for score? Are you going?
I am going. Will be there as well.
Big Will. All right, let's go.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna just keep riding that the Bearcats do the bend but don't break, play well in the red zone, because Baylor's not a high. They're not a great red zone offense. So you're having not great red zone offense going up against what has been to date a very good red zone defense. So I'm going to go. They move the ball up and down the field, but a couple times they either turn it over on downs or kick field goals. And I'm going to say UC wins 41-34.
It will be interesting because field goal kicking has not been something other teams have been interested in doing against Cincinnati.
No.
Like, I feel like we've seen more fourth down attempts this year already than we've seen in forever.
It's either 22 or 23 because they put it up on the TV on the broadcast, and I think they had said 22, and that might have been going into another fourth down attempt, and there might have even been one after that. So, yes. I mean, you're 7 games in, and opponents have already tried 23 fourth down attempts, which just it makes it – that's the other thing that just – when you're playing this style of defense – and the opponent is just taking possessions and automatically, especially when they get to the plus 35, plus 40 yard line, they got 4 downs now. And your defense is just not the type of defense that is this lockdown defense. And the problem continues to be, and we've talked about it a bunch, the defense has been really good when they've been able to get them into third and medium to long. But if you're going to give them 4 downs, that's very hard to do in a bend but don't break defense. Like, you're almost always going to have 3rd and 4, 4th and 2, 3rd and 5, 4th and 1. And it's just like, all right, they're probably going to pick it up. And yet the Bearcats have had 6 possessions in the red zone where the other team has failed on 4th down. And that's not even counting some of the BS flags that they've had thrown on them on 4th down as well. Yeah. So, it's, but I think this kind of sets up for a very similar thing. I don't know if they'll be depending on game flow, they might be going for it more, but I think they have confidence in their kicker. So, but it's a not great red zone offense versus a good red zone defense. So hopefully that continues.
The story for me, how many or does Baylor score from distance? Because that was the big thing in the Kansas game. Like, they had those 2 long touchdowns that, I mean, if that's not a thing, Kansas scores 20 points, right? 20 or 19 points. So is Cincinnati able to truly be bend but don't break? You gave up a 95-yard touchdown and a 75-yard 70-whatever-yard touchdown against Kansas, and that kept them alive because, they moved it a bunch, but Cincinnati did a good job mitigating if they were able to make them go the entire distance. If they tackle well, and that's I think the big question here, because they don't really have they're not going to burn you over the top a ton, are they?
I mean, they'll take their shots if they're there. Yeah,
but I mean, they're not a team that's hit on a bunch of 80-yard, 60-yard, 70-yard touchdown throws.
Let's see. No. Well, hold on. Sorry. I mean, they've got a 73-yarder, a 57-yarder, 41, 42, 48. Now, I don't know if that's just looking at.
But I'm okay with it. I'm talking about 60 plus.
Yeah, I don't know if those I don't know if those are catch and runs or if there's 30 air yards in there. Like that, this is not a great way to rationalize that. But So no, I think
if they can keep the top on the defense, I think Cincinnati wins. If Baylor can hit a couple of those deep balls or catch and run, whatever variety it may be, like the one Kansas one was not a deep throw. It was over the middle, and he took off, and they had bad angles, and he ran forever. That's the big thing for me is keep it underneath, keep the umbrella on. If they go over the top and they get a couple scores, that changes the dynamic of the game for me in a big way.
Mm-hmm.
In a big way. All right. Let's timestamp it. Brought to you by Turtles Brew. 0 sugar, 0 carbs, gluten-free, 6% ABV. It's bourbon-infused sweet tea, lemonade tea, strawberry mint, cherry lime, raspberry peach, orange vanilla. It's going to be a little bit of a chilly day, a little bit of a chilly afternoon. Will be perfect Saturday to mix in maybe a raspberry peach, maybe an orange vanilla while you're at the tailgate. You can pick them up at more than 50 locations in Greater Cincinnati. Go to turtlesbrew.com for information and the location nearest you. Reminder, a portion of the proceeds go to Save the Sea Turtles. Basketball, Dave. I know you didn't watch, right? I assume you didn't watch.
Or the 6-pack first?
We'll do the 6-pack last. I like doing the 6-pack last before we get out of here.
All right.
Let's do basketball. I know you didn't watch.
I did not.
But I'm sure you've read plenty.
Well, I talked to you, so that's
okay.
That's all I need to do.
Look, I'm not taking anything from the outcome of the game. Like that is completely, totally irrelevant. What I do take from it is watching how guys played, watching how they handled, being on the road against a really good Michigan team. Yes, it would have been nice to see them play against Morez Johnson and Ade Mara, but that's still a talented Michigan team. And Cincinnati looked every bit like they belong. They took a flurry of punches from what I think is going to be a first-team All-American, if not National Player of the Year. And that's not me going out on a limb with that. Yaxel Lindenborg is absolutely one of the best players in the country. He had an elite stretch in that game where he got fouled and scored the bucket and went to the free throw line. It felt like 6 times in the second half. But they took the punch. I think that was something I was glad. It's not that I wanted to see it, but Michigan kept getting that thing back down into, 6 and under, and Cincinnati kept pushing it back out to 7, 8, 9, and they'd bring it down again, and Cincinnati would push it back out. Like, I really felt like, Dave, if Michigan would have gotten the lead, Michigan was going to win the game. And Cincinnati didn't allow them to get the lead. And the thing that I probably like the most, at least in our first viewing of this team, is that there were periods of the game where different guys were able to carry the load. And they didn't have that last year. Like, we talked about that a ton. You had one guy play well or two guys play well. Pretty much every game, it felt like. There was never a third guy. There was never, that support of, this guy's maybe the dude today, but here's my 3-minute spurt where I scored 6, 7, 8 points. Here's this guy's 3-minute spurt. And they had that. So while I don't take a lot from the result, I do think there's some things that you can look at in that game and go, okay, there's stuff to work with here at least.
For sure. And I think just from where I sit is, I know that there were a lot of fouls and a lot of free throws, but you're playing a high-level team, we're preseason top 5. Yes, they're down a couple guys. We were down a couple guys.
Yeah.
There's no scouting going on, but they're not like, it's not a street game. It wasn't a open gym atmosphere. And to be able to get to 100 when we've talked so much about offense and who is going to be that guy, it's encouraging that, like you said, like there weren't really spurts of, and Wes was, I was following along on Twitter, and Wes was clearly mixing and matching and playing a lot of his players in different lineups. And I don't know, it didn't feel like there was ever a time where you or Keegan or anybody that was really following the game was like, oh, we're in quite a drought here. Nobody's able to get a bucket or.
They had the 9-0 stretch, but I think that was like 4 possessions, 3 or 4. Like it was quick. It was not an extended.
Right. It wasn't like we haven't scored since the last TV timeout and situation. So, a lot of contributors in that type of a game, and that's good to see. I mean, I'm interested to see how it goes. Is it Friday again?
Yeah,
Friday in Arkansas. Yeah, that'll be another just good opportunity, and see who can stack days against good competition.
And this is going to be an entirely different thing.
Yes.
Michigan is very skilled. Arkansas is maybe the most athletic team in the country. It's a Coach Cal team. They're going to be super long, super athletic. So, I mean, it's going to present a much different challenge, which is good.
Will Kerr make any sort of hand gesture at Cal?
Maybe.
If they win or something, is he going to do a Reggie Miller?
He doesn't have a history with Cal, though, does he?
Was he not at Kentucky with Cal?
No, he was there with Pope last year.
Okay. It was last year. Okay,
Yeah, he was there last year. The year before, he was at West Virginia with Bob 2 years ago.
Okay.
So I don't think he has any connection.
Okay, well there you go then. But no, yeah, they're going to be. Is Wagner Jr. still there? That'll be an interesting matchup.
I believe so. Yes.
That'll be an interesting matchup. Buck, I would assume Buck would guard him quite a bit if they're on the floor at the same time. So, yeah, they'll certainly want to get up and down and run.
Let's see.
Especially in an exhibition game. It's not.
No, I guess he's not there anymore.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought he was still there.
No, he is. He is. Okay. He was the last guy. DJ Wagner, Billy Richmond, who I love out of Memphis. He's really good. Carter Knox. His brother played at Kentucky. Mm-hmm. Trayvon Brazile is really good. And then Darius Acuff.
That'll be an interesting. That's probably a Baba Miller Brazil matchup.
Probably, yeah. With a 4 p.m. start, will Keegan be able to make the drive to the Baylor game? The plan is for the young lad to get done in Arkansas, hop in the car after the game, make some of the trek back, get a little bit of sleep, and then make the rest of the way back before the Baylor game. That's the plan. I miss being young when you could do stuff like that. Like, if you asked me to do that now, the answer would just be no.
Yeah.
Like, can I catch a plane somewhere Saturday morning and be back like that? Because if not, no.
Sure.
Chicken Genius, I have great news for you. Tony's back on the radio. He got his job back Monday. So he's back on the radio. Now, I know if you're just now tuning into this and you're watching Tony, you have like an hour before you get to this part. But hopefully you are very excited when you get to this part and you hear that Tony got his job back. And it's now Tony Pike's Cincy 360. So if you'd like, you can tune in tomorrow at noon on Cincinnati's ESPN 1530. And Tony will be right there giving you the sports. But yeah, oh, he is live. Okay, good. Yeah, Tony's back. They hired him back on Monday. He did the Tony and Mo football show. It's been a really uncomfortable 2 weeks in Cincy radio. I'll tell you that much right now. But Tony's back on the air. Yeah, I don't know if he would have done this if he was still out of a job.
No, probably not.
Just because he wouldn't want to come on the air and say the things that he probably wanted to say. at that point in time. You gotta censor yourself maybe sometimes. But with him back on the air, he graciously accepted. I asked him last week, and he didn't respond really until this morning. I talked to him at Jim Kelly's visitation, and he said, I don't know, man. I'll let you know Tuesday or Wednesday. So, I mean, I like you get a really skilled team in Michigan, team that can spread you out, shoot some threes. They've got some size. They've got an elite player. And then you get an Arkansas team that's going to be super long, super athletic. You get a couple different challenges on the road, and they don't count.
I like
everybody would like them to count.
I like these situations because you always, coaching staff, players, you have answers or you have questions going into the season.
Sure.
And these don't answer them, but it'll tell you a lot more than, if you playing
a D2 school in an exhibition game.
Yeah, Bellarmine or whatever, and you get answers. You get these guys played really well together. These guys we wanted to try together and it didn't flow for whatever reason, or this guy's not ready to guard at this level. This guy is more ready to guard at this level than we thought he was. I mean, if you can guard and have an impact against Michigan and Arkansas, even in an exhibition setting, I feel comfortable that you can then have an impact in the non-con and work your way into having a role in the Big 12 schedule.
Is there anything? I
don't
I know
ask
there's
me
really
if there's anything I'm looking to see.
Is there anything that when we get done with Arkansas that's going to make you feel better about this team?
No.
Knowing between Michigan and Arkansas, I would disagree. Like, if Abayev is good again against Arkansas, I think that's a really good sign going into the season that he got to play against two high major teams and looked good against both of them.
I feel like I will expect him to play well against Arkansas because I feel like the style of play will be very familiar to the way he wants to play. It's just hard for me to take much of anything from games when you know that the opponent and you yourself are not scouting at all. You're not game planning at all. You're only concerned about yourself. We're going to work on our stuff, and if it works, great. If it doesn't, we'll obviously have things that we do off of it to try to, we're not just going to keep running the same stuff if it's not working, whether it's an exhibition or not.
Sure.
But there's no scouting. There's not really going to be like big time adjustments. They're not going to change the way they're playing defense. 10 minutes into the game, if Arkansas is having a bunch of success running a certain type of thing. I'm just looking for players individually to continue to develop and maybe make impacts similar off of, like, I don't want to see guys take steps backwards.
But there's going to be some.
Sure, of course. But
night to night, not everybody is going to play well.
Absolutely. You can learn. Well, they knew that before the Murray State game even tipped off, Josh.
They did, Josh. They were aware. They're trying to play it off like that it's a surprise to somebody, but it is not. All right, let's get to the 6-pack, Dave. And look what I got.
Oh, buddy.
The Nippert Stadium inspired. Maybe
that is a classy Cincinnati-based lager that is far superior to anything Norwood Bridge Trolls would drink.
They're rent-free, Dave. Rent-free.
Sure.
I'm just going to spam. I've decided I'm going to spam them. Every time one of those idiots say something, I'm just going to say rent-free.
Okay. Yeah.
From here and forever. I'm not going to respond anymore. I'm just going to say rent-free because they love that phrase so much.
I know.
Anyhow, Cincy Light is going to be selling these fancy, snazzy, awesome cans at Nippert Stadium on Saturday, 16 ounces. And also, if you'd like to get a commemorative set, you can get them at the tap room. And go visit them right by Finley Market.
4-pack? What is
4-pack?
4-pack?
Yeah. 4-pack of the 16 ounces at the tap room. And you can have one of these for your own collection. I've still got the Jimmy Nippert ones from last year. And now I'm going to add these to the collection.
There we go.
Very happy about that. Very happy about that. Dave, where's the building design on it? Give us your 6-pack.
Ole Miss at Oklahoma, noon, ABC. Ole Miss coming off a loss to Georgia. Georgia doesn't play Georgia ball. They give up points, but they keep winning. This game is interesting to me because Oklahoma, really, really good defense. Ole Miss quarterback Trinidad Chambliss, good game against Georgia, but I don't think he was great. How does he respond? And we're getting to the point of the season where we're talking 10-2 SEC team. I mean, it was Ole Miss's first loss, but if they lose, last week was their first loss. If they lose this game, then you start saying, okay, are they going to run the table the rest of the way, sneak into the playoff? Just a good nooner to get things going. Then I'm going South Florida at Memphis, noon, ESPN2. This is more than likely the game that will determine the G5 playoff bid. There are some other teams sneaking around, could make a run, but this is the one to watch. And the player to watch is Memphis quarterback. If he can't go in this game, and he is day-to-day with a lower body injury, we know this is becoming very hockey. He has a lower extremity injury, and he's day-to-day. Who knows what that means? But that is the thing to watch in this game. If he doesn't play, I'm not sure Memphis can really keep it close. USF can just put up points, especially on these AAC defenses. Missouri at Vanderbilt, 3:30 ESPN. Vandy's good, and people still, I think the collective doesn't want to say it. They were favored against LSU, and they were the better team. Better team the whole game. They are very much in their one loss is to Alabama. They're very much in the SEC title picture, playoff picture. Missouri, same thing. I feel like they've started to slide a little bit playing against some of the better SEC teams. But another great game, middle of the afternoon. BYU at Iowa State, 3:30 on Fox. We have to talk about it now that the Bearcats are scoreboard watching and in the hunt for the Big 12 championship. These games are vital. Iowa State's been a very good home team. BYU keeps winning these games. At some point, I just have to be okay with the fact that they're good.
I mean, we did this last year with them. We just kept waiting for it to implode. And I mean, it never really did.
Ohio guy Matt Campbell could do the Bearcats a solid on Saturday. That's all we'll say. Texas A&M at LSU, 7:30 ABC. LSU coming off the loss to Vandy. Brian Kelly not in a great spot with the natives down in Baton Rouge. Texas A&M still kind of like that, not sleeper, but they're in that next tier, I feel like. They had a very close game last week against an Arkansas team that can really play offense, but doesn't really offer much defensively. So the LSU offense has somehow been so bad that I don't know if it matters that Texas A&M's defense is not great. I mean, do you know, Chad, that the only team LSU has scored more than 20 points on is Louisiana Tech?
I do know that because Brian Kelly keeps blaming that you're yelling at the media for asking him about the offense.
No, that might be a week-old stat. They might have done that they might have scored more than that against Vandy. I don't remember, and I'm really not going to take the time to look it up. But either way, you're LSU, and through half the season, you haven't been able to score more than 20 points against anybody in the Power Four.
What happened to Brian Kelly, offensive genius?
If they I know what happened. His offensive coordinators at Notre Dame.
Well, Denbrock wasn't his coordinator here.
No, but I'm saying at LSU he was with Jalen Daniels or Jaden Daniels.
He was at Notre Dame too. He was with him at Notre Dame.
So if they're 5-2, if they lose this game, they have a bye, and then they play Alabama at home. If in 3 weeks they're 5-4, buddy, like $60 million ain't gonna be nothing for those boys to scrounge up. And then we will wrap it up with Houston at Arizona State, 8:00 ESPN2. The reason I have this on here is I don't think anybody is talking about Houston as being in the Big 12 title race.
I saw one thing today that had him in like tier 3, like almost tier 4.
Now they still have Arizona State, which is a good team. Jordan Tyson is not playing. I mean, they're Sam Leavitt, Jordan, like he's already out for this game, so their passing game will take a bit of a hit there. I mean, not even a bit of a hit.
Was it the hamstring that was bothering him the whole game?
Mm-hmm.
How about the balls on that dude to play with a bad ham?
He dominated the fourth quarter, that last drive.
He could barely walk.
And Houston has a pretty good defense, but the rest of their schedule is ASU, UCF, West Virginia, and TCU. If they win this game, they very well could end the year with one league loss, and nobody is talking about that as a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, like if they win this game, it could be worst case 2 losses if they lose to TCU.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna beat UCF and West Virginia. I would envision.
I would think so. So, kind of as long as the Bearcats keep winning, it's kind of either team losing helps. I think you'd rather have
Arizona State for sure.
Well, but. I don't know, because I don't know their remaining schedule. They might have actually more harder games that it would actually help to give Houston the second loss and then hope that Arizona State gets the second loss later on, being that if Houston doesn't lose this game, are they going to lose again?
Yeah, I just don't – seeing that Arizona State defense –
oh, it's good.
I don't want any part of them.
It's
like, good. If we're weeding out who's a potential to play in the conference championship game, They've got Iowa State, Arizona State has Iowa State, West Virginia, Colorado, Arizona.
Yeah, so about it feels like a very similar end of the year to Houston. So this game is a big game for both teams. But I just threw it on there because I feel like nobody's talking about Houston because they're not really doing anything to grab anybody's attention, but yet they're sitting there at 6-1 and have one league loss to Texas Tech. And they're just totally being not even discussed as like a possibility to make the championship game.
Yeah. Beat Arizona State, and boy, that is real interesting for them. Well, they have West Virginia, UCF, TCU, and Baylor.
Oh, okay. That's right. I mean, but
yeah, it's at Baylor. So
Baylor last game of the year. Where are they if things continue to go sideways? But yeah, I guess I should have just said they don't have Utah, they don't have BYU, they don't have UC. Like,
they've already played Texas Tech.
Right.
It's interesting. Willie Fritz is doing Willie Fritz things where you look at his teams and you're not wowed by them, but they're good.
Yep.
He can take yours and beat his. He can take his and beat yours.
Mm-hmm. I think that was 6. I think we're done.
I think that was 6 too. You think like you're supposed to have them numbered?
Yeah, it was.
Okay. Remember, get you a couple of these. It's sharp. It's just sharp. Looks great. Great design. Cincy Light commemorative cans. If you're listening on the podcast and you can't see. 16 ounces. They will be at Nippert Stadium. They are also available at the tap room in Over the Rhine.
You know what? Next year we need Cincy Light commemorative little tabletop kegs. Ever seen those little Heineken kegs?
I've the ones I used to get was Hofbrauhaus used to make Oktoberfest ones, and I would get those.
Yeah,
and they were delicious. Dave, congratulations, my friend, on 500 episodes.
That's a lot of weeks.
I mean, we generally do this every week. There have been times in the off season because of one or another that we've had to miss a show or two, but ultimately, every Wednesday, sometimes Thursday during basketball season, for a decade, you guys have been watching this stupid show. And for that, we are eternally grateful. Eternally grateful. And we appreciate it. Who gets fired this weekend?
I don't think anybody. I feel like after last week.
What about Luke?
After last week, it's a lot of we're going to do comprehensive assessments, which just means like we're going to just wait till the end of the year. Or I don't really know what the heck is going on.
Bend but don't break.
Yeah, I don't I try and I'm not paying a ton of attention to it, and I don't want it to come off as that we're too concerned about what's going on in Madison, but that whole situation just seems very odd.
I think the FanDuel number on the over-under for Wisconsin points
Saturday. What is their team total?
What do you think it is?
I think it was 7.5 against Ohio State. Is it 6.5?
The last one I heard today was 4.5.
Oh, so all they got to do is score a touchdown? I mean, they haven't
scored a touchdown in weeks. Multiple weeks they have not scored a touchdown.
I mean,
it's supposed to be like a monsoon.
Their AD put out one of the weirdest statements ever, where the whole first paragraph, I mean, it's like a novel. The whole first paragraph of it, he's talking about me and I, and then he like turns it into we're gonna, sunk cost fallacy. We're gonna throw good money at bad, and we need to. I don't know. It's weird.
There's no I in team.
Oh, I know. It goes totally against everything that the coach thinks about.
There's a me.
There is.
There's a me.
But it seems very toxic because I've never seen more people associated with the program and former players just crapping on publicly.
Yeah.
The head coach. I mean, they're clearly not over the fact that they didn't hire Jim Leonard. It's very obvious.
It's also one of those things, Dave. Wisconsin hates Ohio State. Luke Fickell embodies everything that is Ohio State football. So if he started fast, it could have worked, right? Like if he got there and they went 9-3 the first year, then they would be like, okay, like we're okay. Much like what happened here in year 2, where everybody was like, all right, well, like, okay. Well, there are benefits. He knows the state. Like, we're in. But you lose, you continue to lose, and he becomes the bad guy. And now it's that Ohio State guy came in here and ruined our program.
Well, the AD certainly makes it sound like the reason that they're not winning is because they need to commit more to the program, which makes me go back to the very beginning and ask, which is a question we probably will never get an answer to. Did you promise Luke things that you're not giving him? Because if you didn't promise him things to make them competitive in the Big Ten, I have a hard time believing he would take the job. So if you did promise him stuff, then did they not spend it wisely? Did they buy bad players? And now, I mean, they have a very, very good chance of going 2-10. Very good chance. How are you going? This is what we talked about last week. How are you going to go to your boosters and your donors and the people that you need money from to say we need better players? This is not a coach problem. This is a player acquisition problem. How are you going to go to them and ask for money when your coach just went 2-10?
We got to give him more money, Dave. That's why they're losing. He doesn't have enough money.
Sunk cost fallacy.
That's going to wrap it up. Thank you again. 500 episodes. I meant to stop at a party place and get like some noisemakers, but I was busy. Didn't get to do it. Oh well. We'll see you next week for 501. That's the BCJ Podcast, brought to you by the Holy Grail, live from the Cincy Light Studios, right here on BearcatJournal.com.